Before we get to the movie, I want to briefly talk about another movie. I finally watched the Martin Scorsese documentary about George Harrison, living in the material world.
I do not know this one.
3.5 hours of The Quiet Beetle. In this documentary, the late, great Tom Petty tells a very funny story. I don't normally do this, but I'm just going to tell you that story because it's about a subject that's near and dear to your heart. George comes over to my house and he's got these 2 ukuleles. And he says, "Man, you ever play one of these? These are great. Let's jam." And I said, "George, I don't know how to play a ukulele." And he taught me how to play the ukulele, and we played those ukuleles all day. He's about to leave, and he says, "I think I need to give you some more ukuleles." And I said, "George, you already gave me one. But what if we need more?" He opens up the trunk of his car. There's a lot of ukuleles in there.
So this traveling Wilbury is also traveling ukulele distributor. My brother hated lawn flamingos. One day my dad needed something out of the trunk of his car, and he opened up the trunk of the car filled with lawn flamingos. My dad was so irate with him, and my brother was just basically trying to explain that they aren't aesthetically pleasing. He was doing a public service by removing the pink flamingos from the city of Janesville. So he's the opposite of George Harrison.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. I was all set to be a Scrooge again this year and not celebrate Christmas down here in the basement. You told me that you had a Christmas movie that would be good for the show. Let's watch it.
Beyond the baby Jesus and Santa Claus, there's no one more associated with Christmas than Ebenezer Scrooge.
Who?
Ebenezer Scrooge. Scrooge, yes. I imagine that you know where this is heading. We're going to be watching a version of Charles Dickens' classic story, A Christmas Carol. But what version? There are 3 different Christmas carols in here, and my real gift to you is that you get to choose which one we get to see. Will it be a live-action George C. Scott in A Christmas Carol? Will it be a cartoon Jim Carrey in A Christmas Carol? That's a no. Or will it be a puppet-plagued Michael Caine in The Muppets Christmas Carol?
Well, I have to pick the one that I've never seen before. That's not the Jim Carrey one. So I'm going to go with George C. Scott.
Released in 1984 and directed by Clive Donner, ACC is our second made-for-TV movie on the show. This stars George C. Scott. The C stands for Patton, alongside David Warner and Basement alums Edward Woodward, Roger Rees, and Frank Finlay.
This isn't musical, is it?
No, I could not find the musical one.
Is that Albert Finney?
That is Albert Finney.
Yeah.
That was going to be my third choice.
I really like this story, and so I'm grateful to be able to see another incarnation of it.
Good. Merry Christmas, Matt.
My apologies to Jim Carrey.
Why don't you take all your bars and all your humbugs and a big Christmas goose, and we'll head over to the old leather couch to watch A Christmas Carol. Jacob Marley is dead.
Old Marley was as dead as a doornail.
Right after he shot the sheriff.
George Christmas Scott.
When you put your hand into a pile of goo that was your former business partner's face, you'll know what to do.
7 years ago today.
Sergeant Pepper taught his band to play.
Bob Cratchit is a clerk, or Clark. His boss is Ebenezer Scrooge, a miserly man. Bob Cratchit's cold. He just wants to put some coal in the coal stove.
Cratchit!
Coal costs money. I don't like to spend that.
What is this? A shirt.
A shit.
And this? A waistcoat. And this? A coat.
All right, vocabulary test done. Scrooge going for that sexy Martin Van Buren look. His nephew Fred stops by.
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Humbug.
I'm having a party tomorrow for Christmas.
Dine with us tomorrow.
Dine.
I don't eat. See this? This is clothes. That's a waistcoat, and a shirt, and a jacket. I don't eat. I hate Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Now that I can get behind. Thank you, and Happy New Year to you, my dear nephew Fred. I'll be around New Year's Eve. We'll get lit.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Scrooge.
Humbug.
Scrooge just can't stand these whiny people and their merriment.
This reason we can find the shop.
See, I just saved myself money on a tuba.
He wants to go to the exchange and sell his wares.
Top hats, get your top hats. You want to give some money to the poor people? Could you please give our charity to Stop Dracula? He's come to our land from Transylvania. No, I don't.
The workhouses, they still in operation?
Many can't go there, and many would rather die.
Perhaps they had better do so, and decrease the surplus population.
Ebenezer Scrooge is straight up Scroogin'. Scrooge humbugs his way on home to his miserable house. Woof, woof, woof. And he thinks he sees something weird.
How are ya?
Marley.
Get out of here, you undigested potato.
Lights a candle, creaks about a bit.
Time for me to celebrate Christmas in my own fashion, by scowling at a wall until a candle burns out. When you have mutton chops like that, you constantly look like you're seeing a ghost. He hears a clanking, and he hears a rattling.
And then the door unlocks itself.
Oh, this is such humbug!
Sweet mango chutney.
It's his business partner, Jacob Marley.
Marley looks like crap.
Why do you doubt your senses?
It might be a bit of bad beef, a blot of mustard, a
Or
fragment of an underdone potato. Humbug, I tell you, humbug!
it's terrible being dead, Ebenezer. Hamlet's ghost is always bugging me.
I wear the chain I forged in life.
When you die, Ebenezer, you'll be wearing lots of chains like I am, and then we'll be jingle buddies.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
And they're going to show you the error of your ways. Suck it! Why, this is all quite a humbug. I'm going to bed. The bell tower chimes 1 a.m. That's when Marley said the first spirit was going to visit him.
And a beautiful lady shows up with an ugly haircut.
The ghost of Christmas past.
Ebenezer, I'm here to show you your past.
Oh, we're far away from London. That boy is you.
Nobody plays with you. You just get lost in your books.
From his beloved books. His Alibaba.
His boobiala. His babalala.
He's grown up a little bit. And his sister, what's the sister's name? The sister's name is Fan? His sister Fan and his father arrive. They're going to take him home to celebrate Christmas. But you can only come home for 3 days, says the stern father. I did enjoy my 3 days at home, though. We had a great Christmas dinner of undigested potato. It was delicious. They go further forward in time.
Ebenezer's working for Mr. Fezziwig. Fezziwig loves Christmas. He throws an annual Christmas party, which is through the roof. Whoa, hey!
Seems like Ebenezer has found himself a little girlfriend, Belle.
Shall we join the others, Ebenezer?
Humbug. I mean, sure. Yes, let's do that, yes. But as we find out later on, Scrooge just doesn't have time for a relationship.
Another idol has displaced me.
What idol has displaced you?
Kalima!
A dowerless girl with nothing but myself to bring to a marriage.
Well, I'm a dour man, so I've got plenty of dower for both of us. You don't need a dower as well? What does dower mean? He and Belle break up.
May you be happy in the life you have chosen.
It's okay. It's all right. Ebenezer. I don't want to remember this stuff. Leave me alone. And he wakes up back in his bedroom. Will this potato ever be digested? The bell tower rings 2 a.m.
Ebenezer Scrooge!
Humbug!
It's the ghost of Christmas present.
Take hold of my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge.
We must keep our appointment with the Wicker Man.
What day is it now?
Don't you know?
No, I just asked you.
Roly-poly. Eat them up, yum.
He shows him the Cratchit household.
And man, is Tiny Tim gonna die.
Father had a long talk with the minister.
He's arranging my funeral for some reason. What's a funeral, Mother? Why is Papa arranging it? There were measurements made of me. I think they're making me a new suit, but they did it all the way up to my head.
Look at their measly dinner. Look at that tiny goose. That's all Bob Cratchit can afford with what you pay him.
And God bless us, everyone.
Good one, Tim. Have Mother embroider that on a pillow. Tiny Tim is looking pretty sickly these days.
Will he live?
I don't think so. I'm seeing a Timless household in the near future.
Let him die and decrease the surplus population.
Ah, that's one of mine. To Ebenezer Scrooge, the man who made all this possible.
Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge.
Without me, there would be no feast, no goose at all.
All the lessons I've been taught so far are now forgotten. Back to sleep.
Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green. Here we come a-wandering so fair to be seen.
Hang on to my robe, we're going to Fred's house. Here we are at Fred Scrooge's key party.
A word game, huh? Yes, game. What should it be?
Oh, let's play Celebrity Top Hat. They play a fun game called Similes.
Proud as.
Proud as a peacock.
Dry as.
A dry thing.
Plump as.
Humbug! And they tell funny stories about old Ebenezer and how cranky he is. Nice. Hey, take on my robe. Whee!
Silent as. The night. No!
Finished as this scene. Off to the next adventure. Under this bridge, there's a family and they're poor. These people are so poor, their goose is only this big, and it's mouse-shaped.
To be cold soon enough.
Eat your digested potato.
Your father's not a thief, girl.
I am a purveyor of other owned goods.
He's a good man, and he wants to provide for his family, but he just can't do it because of the poverty.
Look at these hands, Meg.
Take a look at these hands. I'm a tumbler. I'm a government man. Why are these people outside? I don't get it.
Look here! Beneath my robe!
No! No!
Their names are Ignorance and Want.
Ignorance is the boy.
On their brow is written the word Doom.
Doom!
Time has come for me to leave you.
Leave me here.
I can't get an Uber at this hour. They're charging outrageous prices. Surge pricing. And he sees a shadowy figure.
Boogie, boogie, boogie. That's that ghost. He's gonna freak you out.
And I'm in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come, am I not?
You can call me Yet.
You're a tall drink of wassail. Scrooge goes to a seedy place where there's an old woman with a bag full of goods.
Well, open it up, Mrs. Dilber.
All right, all right. That looks like my pocket watch.
She's stolen my things.
That watch was given to me by myself when I bought it. And this woman's talking about somebody who died. I don't get it.
He'd have had someone to look after him when he was struck with death.
His last word, She kind of looks like my housekeeper. Oh, what's going on here? He's taken to the exchange, and he sees his old business partners, and they're talking about somebody who died. Who are they talking about? I don't get it. They go to the Cratchit house, and everybody's sad. Tim's in the graveyard. Bob Cratchit is bearing up. Children, I've brought home a pet hedgehog for you. We'll call him Spiny Tim.
You're late. We were worried about you.
Get off my back!
You shall see it on Sunday. We shall all go on Sunday.
He's such a good man. It's hard to believe that he ever menaced the Time Bandits.
Yes.
But none of us will ever forget poor Tiny Tim.
No.
We will not forget Tony Tom. Now they're in a graveyard. I wonder whose grave it is. Oh, thank God it's Fred's. Oh.
Fred Scrooge, killed by simile.
Fred Scrooge, dead as blank.
Oh no, I'm the surplus population. Oh spirit, if these things can change, I'll change. I'll be a better man. And he wakes up in his bed, and he's still alive.
I will keep my promise.
I will.
What day is today?
Today? Why, it's Christmas Day, of course.
Do you know if they've sold the prize turkey?
The one as big as me?
That's a simile. I'm going to introduce you to my boy Fred.
Go buy the turkey in the turkey store. Have it sent to the Cratchits. Open up, it's the chicken.
Anonymous, you said.
What should we do then?
I say we cook it and eat it.
And then pluck it.
And God bless us all, everyone.
Leave it to Tiny Tim to screw up his own catchphrase. He goes and visits his nephew Fred.
Uncle Ebenezer.
Please call me Uncle Neasy.
Well, I've come for 3 reasons. First,
to kick ass.
Secondly,
to chew bubblegum.
Thirdly,
to run out of bubblegum and be forced to just kick ass. The next day, Scrooge is in his office. Bob Cratchit is late. Time for me to mess with old Bob. I'm sorry I'm late, Mr. Scrooge. I did a little too much celebrating last night. I won't take this anymore, Cratchit.
I am going to double your salary.
And I'm going to make sure that little Tim gets better. Bah humbug? No. God bless us, everyone.
Everyone!
A Christmas Carol. You know who really would have liked some coal in his stocking? Bob Cratchit.
Bob Cratchit would have loved that.
There's 2 ways to play Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yes.
You can play him like, nah.
Yeah.
Kind of the obvious sort of hacky way to do it. Or you play him as a human being.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's not just a monster. He's a guy whose heart has been kicked in the ass a bunch of times. He's had a lot of pain. He's lost his humanity because he's pushed it down. When you suppress the pains of your life, you tend to suppress the joy as well. Because you don't want to put yourself out there for anything.
And also he chose to value the wrong things.
The source of his miserliness is not just he wants to pinch a penny. There's no point in spending his money on something nice because it doesn't give him pleasure. And so that's really, I think, what George C. Scott is doing here in this film. However, I think he's playing it a bit too detached, particularly in the beginning.
When he's making his arguments against the poorhouses, against Christmas, against using one more rock of coal, it sounds rational. I don't agree with him, but I totally see where he's coming from, as opposed to like, we have to protect every single lump of coal we have.
The really important thing that makes A Christmas Carol work is that you don't hate Scrooge. You want him to change. You can see the error of his ways. Everyone can see them except for him.
I did like that he underplayed everything because he made it so human. It's the only time other than Alastair Sims, which I think is
That's the perfect performance.
Yeah, the perfect one. Who did you think David Warner was going to play?
Jacob Marley.
Of course he is. He's this big bad. He played the personification of evil, for Christ's sake. He plays the unstoppable butler on the Titanic. And yet he plays such a heartbreaking Bob Cratchit when he's talking about Tim.
I promised him that every Sunday I would walk.
I didn't know David Warner had that in him.
Frank Finlay played Jacob Marley, and physically he did a really great job in that role. You said at one point that you found it difficult to even look at him. But that's the impression that you want that ghost to have. I want this guy to go away because he's really creeping me out.
Yeah. The only one that left me wanting was Ghost of Christmas Past. And I think part of that problem was that she's the only person who had a really dated haircut. But those last couple shots of her grinning at him reminds us that this is a horror story. This was from back in the old days when Christmas Eve was all about getting together and telling people spooky tales.
Oh, yeah.
A tradition I wish would come back.
Yeah.
The Ghost of Christmas Past and Present I found scarier than the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come.
It just shows you that facets of humanity can be more unsettling than a boogeyman. Has this story taken any part in your Christmas traditions of the past or the present?
No.
Probably a little too early to acquaint the boy with Ebenezer Scrooge.
It's never too early for the boy to repent.
So I want to talk about the name Ebenezer.
Ebenezer as a name. I have it right there.
Was it ever actually a name?
Yeah, it's a biblical name.
Is it?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that name, but this story has ruined it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, because Ebenezer Scrooge comes out the other side all right. People describe a miser as a Scrooge, someone who doesn't like Christmas as a Grinch. Both these people reform at the end. It shows our society's refusal to accept someone's self-improvement.
So if you have a newborn son, name him Grinch.
I think a key thing about this story that makes it powerful for everyone is that it's a very Christian tale, and yet it doesn't press hard on the Christ button. Yes, there are prayers, but the prayers done here, he's talking to Jacob Marley. So you can see it as both this redemption tale on a Christian level, or just on a secular level where we all have to be better people.
Well, we've concluded our visit with the 3 spirits of A Christmas Carol, and now it's time for us to visit Seen It.
Seen It!
Are you visiting family for the holidays? Do you need a break, maybe? Well, a good thing to do would be to go out and see a movie. Tonight's Seen It are movies that we've seen in the theater. Peter Roberts writes, saw Bram Stoker's Dracula after a quarter of a century, and everything I heard about Keanu Reeves is true. Seen It.
Seen it in the theater.
I saw this in the theater 3 times.
Wow.
Not because I loved it so much, but because I was a teenager, and sometimes your friends want to go see a movie that you've seen twice. Keanu Reeves is really miscast in this.
Mm-hmm.
Not good performance.
You know who I think's miscast in this movie? Practically everyone. Everyone else is having a big overacting party in it. And it's strange because this movie demands overacting. You needed to have this certain balance between taking it seriously and camping it up. And I think that the 2 people who did this best in the movie would be Gary Oldman, playing Dracula, and Tom Waits, playing Renfield. Waits is selling it. He is weird, like you wouldn't believe, and it's hysterical and scary all at the same time.
The 90s were a weird time for Gary Oldman. He was just hamming it up everywhere he went. Yeah. The Professional, Dracula, The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
That guy was nuts.
I know. He's basically Hollywood's uncle. Their benevolent uncle. And it's like, this guy was Sid Vicious. And now he's playing Harry Potter's his godfather? What? Eddie Tisato asks, have you guys ever seen Naked Lunch starring Peter Weller? Seen it.
Seen it.
That's an intense movie. I couldn't follow it at all.
You can't follow the book either.
So it's really just following a series of images and events and incident, talking typewriters that want powder rubbed on our lips. But then it ends on such an absolutely tragic note. Burroughs and his character have to relive this horrible mistake he made in his life over and over and over again.
Really great vehicle for Cronenberg.
Yeah.
He Cronenbergs it up in that thing. Drone Gaze, J. Edgar, absolutely savage. Seen it.
Not seen it.
I watched this in the theater. It was one of those times when Tone and I just really wanted to go see a movie, and that was the only option. Afterwards, I thought, that wasn't too bad. And then I thought, wait, it wasn't too good. Why does Clint Eastwood do that to me all the time? He really knows what fundamentally makes an engaging movie, and he's able to do that. But he's not always able to actually make a good movie.
Yeah.
He just makes a movie that appears to be good. There's definitely some overacting, a lot of it coming from Armie Hammer.
Really?
There is horrendous old age makeup. It's like Citizen Kane levels of old age makeup. But this movie does have a really great scene. J. Edgar and his companion, they've taken a trip together. They've gone off to the races, and they're in their shared hotel room. Because why get 2 hotel rooms? We could just share one.
Mm-hmm.
We're friends. And they're just sitting there, and they're just being 2 old queens. Just unselfconsciously. Oh, did you see her shoes? And that hat. Oh, my goodness. And it's just a really natural scene. It's like you're peeking in someone's window.
Yeah. And a strange scene to get from a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah.
Bat Devil Spawn writes, I don't know if this has been asked before, but have either of you seen Oliver Stone's JFK from 1991? Definitely dubious when it comes to representing history, but an engaging and well-made conspiracy thriller in its own right. Seen it.
I saw this on a campus screening, and afterwards I thought, man, we gotta do something.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta go out and change things.
Yeah, we're gonna make the government admit that JFK was killed by everyone. Particularly that gay person and his gay friends.
It was before I knew that Oliver Stone sort of plays fast and loose with facts and things like that. It's still one of the most incredible ensemble pieces ever assembled.
Yeah.
Thank you to the people who gave us those Seen It suggestions. If you have a movie you'd like to suggest for Seen It, you can leave it in the comments for this video. It might show up on this show. As you're enjoying the holidays, you can go a-wassailing over to our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. All of our episodes are there, over 180 of them, and there are PayPal donation buttons. You can spread a little Christmas cheer by contributing to support this show.
Christmas is the time for giving, don't you know?
Generous people such as Brendan, who says, I will be traveling a lot in the next few months, be it by car, not while driving, or plane. I'll pass the time watching Roar, Starship Troopers, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, My Neighbor Totoro, Megaforce, and so many others. To find out who the rest of our donors are and to see the exciting contents of our mail crate, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday.
There's boxes. We're going to unbox them.
Well, I have to be off to buy the prize turkey in the turkey window, and you can watch this.
Gobble, gobble. This was the first movie I recall having a lingering after effect after I left the theater. I remember leaving the theater feeling stoned.
It's really great when movies can do that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like after you watch a really great kung fu movie and you just walk around feeling like you can do kung fu.
Yeah, or
you're just aware of the way your body's moving.
Where the characters are really cool. I leave the movie and I'm like,
I'm cool too.
I could just walk up to some woman and be like, hey, you want to go make out? She'd be like, yeah, I want to. I don't know where she talk like that, you know.
Humbug.